Hello and welcome. I am Celeste Hartwell. So thank you so much for joining us for this, global healing of systemic racism. I was feeling really strongly called to do this week, and I just really want to honor you, whether you're live or catching this on the recording, for showing up and um, really saying, like, I am here to not only heal myself, but heal, everyone that I come into contact with. And that's what's really coming through for me right now. So many people are, we're getting a couple more people jumping on right now. So many people in this world right now are hurting, and really, like, I want to name that there's this piece of me that has always been like, well, I'm not racist. Like, I have Black people in my family. I grew up with African-American cousins and an aunt. And I actually grew up in a fairly poor neighborhood where I was actually the minority. And I lived in Chicago, and I was friends with all of these different people, right? So it's really easy to say, like, there's no racism here. But what I've been learning throughout this experience is that it is so deeply rooted in each of us. And unless we've actually done the work, we're still holding on to some of these prejudices, whether we know it or not. And that was what I really wanted to call out. So thank you for showing up. Thank you for taking a stand in whatever way that is for you. And this energetic container, I have lovingly and very diligently, called in the archangels and beings of 100% pure Christ consciousness frequency or higher. So now I'm feeling like I'm going to begin. So before I do that, I want to do a couple logistics, which is do this in a way that is most comfortable for you. Feet flat on the floor if you're going to be sitting upright is really, really powerful. Why feet flat on the floor? Because you want to be grounded into the earth. There's going to be three pieces here. The other piece is we're going to be doing a lot of very deep energetic work. And so drink a lot of water if you feel called to do that now, throughout this, and definitely after. It's almost like running a marathon. Like, that's funny. That's not what I planned to say, but that's what came up. So we're going to be doing a lot of energy moving here. So it is very important that you stay hydrated today and throughout the next 24 hours. On top of that, sleep. So now there's going to be four. And the fourth piece is really being able to, since we're doing so much very deep energetic work here, and if you're not accustomed to this, your body may go through some things. It may purge in different ways. I've had that happen for me in different areas. You can set boundaries with spirit, just FYI. If you're new to this work in any way, shape, or form, you can set boundaries and say, I really don't want to be physically ill. And, have really, really set that intention that I would like this to move through me in a different way. But we do need to integrate physically in some way, shape, or form. So if you followed me for any length of time, you know that I believe orgasm is the way to abundance. So maybe that's masturbation for you. Maybe that's walking outside. Maybe it's taking a hot bath with Epsom salts and baking soda to really cleanse your space as much as possible. But really make sure that, you are taking care of yourself after this, because again, like I've mentioned multiple times now, we are going to be moving a lot of energy, and it is really important. Self-care is the first thing that we cannot take care of anyone else unless we're taking care of ourselves. So that it's just like the airplane with the oxygen mask, right? Like, put your oxygen mask on first before assisting the people around you. It's just like that. We need to be putting our own oxygen mask on. And that's why I really want to applaud you for showing up for this, whether you're showing up live or again, virtually on the replay. It is very important. And I really just honor you and thank you for being on this journey with me and with all of us who are here, who are showing up, and the entire collective. So yeah, my body is starting to light up. For me, that means goosebumps everywhere. So we're gonna start and get started. Like I was saying before, really want to, what I did before I always set the container before I do any type of work. We're really calling in all the archangels, divine guides, your guides, only beings of 100% pure Christ consciousness frequency or higher, to come in and assist us with this work, to allow us to transmute what we need to in this moment, what is ready to be gone, because not all of it is going to be ready to be gone. We only have 1 hour here, and I will do my best to be respectful of your time, but we need to really understand that there are many layers to this, like layers to an onion. And all we can really focus on right now is doing what we can do for ourselves in these moments. So thank you to our guides. Thank you to the angels. Thank you to Divine Temples for coming. Thank you for showing up to allow us to really move this. So first, we're going to just like really with our feet flat on the floor, unless you feel more comfortable lying down. It is really powerful to have your feet flat on the floor and envision that there are roots growing down from the bottoms of your feet down into the earth and spreading out and really grounding solid into the earth. And what I like to envision is then those roots of that tree, then the stems are coming up through your legs, through the center of your body. And then another root system is actually going out the top of your head up into the source of your own divine knowledge and wisdom. This is grounding us not only into our physical bodies, but also into our own divine knowledge and wisdom, our own spirit. We're going to clear a lot of energy out. We're just going to send whatever energy, whatever sadness, whatever fear, whatever feelings that have not been serving us in this way. We're going to put them into bubbles and we're going to send them off to the edge of the universe. They're going to go up, 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 really high. And we're going to allow that to be transmuted into love by divine source. Take a nice deep breath. Make sure that you're breathing. Taking a nice deep breath to fill from your belly. And we're gonna, what I've been seeing coming up the last couple days as I've been tuning into this, is that the majority of this is programming. Whatever we feel around Asian people, Filipino people, Chinese people, African American people, Cuban people, Puerto Rican, Jamaican, African, it's programming. And because we've never consciously dealt with it in the past, we've kind of had these unconscious programs rolling around. And so what I'm saying that I'm seeing it like in our brain. So I'm seeing it as a very mental body space. And so if I didn't say it before, please have your eyes closed. That might be the best for you to be able to receive this. I realize I just kind of closed my eyes and didn't really talk about it. But really being able to, I see it kind of in the middle center of our brain. So if you are okay with visualizing, or if you need some explanation, I will try to explain that through to you. But I really see this programming in the middle of in the center of our skull, like in the center of our brain. And the way I see it is that we can literally just pull it out. It's just threads. So just envision that you're pulling it out and putting it into another bubble. And just pulling it out. And it might be easiest to see like a screen in front of you and like a silhouette of your body or a shape or a color, whatever comes naturally to you in that space. And then seeing the top and seeing the head and just pulling it out and pulling out that programming and putting it into a bubble. And it may just be one big bubble. It may be multiple bubbles. whatever you see is perfect, and whatever you feel, whatever you sense. Some people smell, taste, hear, see. We all have heightened senses in different ways. Whatever way comes up for you is perfect, and what you have the easiest access to. So utilize that. Don't try to make it something that it's not. This work is really easy. So we're just going to pull that programming out. I'm still seeing that there's still more, for me at least. Remember to breathe. And whenever you feel complete with that, again, we can send that bubble off to the edge of the universe to have it be transmuted into love. I'm going to probably say this multiple times, but the universe abhors a vacuum. So because we have removed something, we always have to refill it with something, a strong intention. Because otherwise, we're leaving ourselves open to have it be refilled with something random, or allowing it to be refilled with what we just took out. And that's not what we desire. So you can create a nice big sun above your head. You can refill that in with whatever you feel called to fill it in with. For me, it is always Celeste Hartwell's energy. I'm always very intentional about that. If you don't know, I've legally changed my name before, so I'm always intentional about refilling in with Celeste's energy, refilling in with self-validation, filling in with standing in my own power, filling in with love, joy, empowerment. I'm really getting a lot of empowerment around this particular session because we don't want to just think that things are okay and that they're complacent. We want to be able to move forward in a very intentional way to not only help ourselves, but help the collective. Excuse me. So again, you can, sorry, I have a bug that's really excited about this and in my hair. That was weird. So whenever you feel like that sun is filled up, you can pop that and allow it to pour through your crown and really filling in that space in your brain where all of that patterning and programming was pulled out. It can also just go down your neck and your shoulders and your arms and out your fingers and down your torso, and just filling in all of your space, your thighs, your knees, your calves, your feet, going out your toes as well, and filling in the aura around you, just swirling around. Next, we're going to really look at removing the program of hatred for ourselves, because that really stuck out to me as I was readying for this call, was that so often we have hate and prejudice and unhappiness with something about ourselves. So maybe it was related to that, like, how could I be racist? How could I have these prejudiced thoughts in my space? And again, I want to assure you, A lot of this is because many of us are empaths. We're feeling other people's energy. We're taking on things from the collective. We're absorbing just through watching TV and listening to music and listening to the news. And often, what really is at the root of any hatred of any particular group is unhappiness with ourselves. Is us wanting to be something different, thinking that we're not quite there yet, we're not ready to be who we feel like we were meant to be, not liking our body, not feeling like we do things quickly enough, that we procrastinate, that we're not efficient, etc. So I'm going to talk a little bit about how this is an act of rebellion. We are being rebels right now. We are saying, I will not stand for the status quo any longer. I do deserve love. And when I love myself, I can give more love to other people. When I fully, deeply accept myself for everything that I am, I can fully and deeply accept other people. When I feel compassion for myself, I can feel compassion for others on a deeper level than I ever have in the past. And I'm feeling like there may be some emotion coming up with this. And it is safe to cry. It is safe to grieve. It is safe to feel sorrow. It is safe to feel anger. It is safe to feel exhausted and fearful. And we can always choose something different. So feel the feelings. But I teach this often with my clients. Don't get caught up in the story of what they mean about you. Just say, I am sad. I am sad. I feel sad, rather. I always say, do not say I am sad, because you are not. You are soul. But you feel sad. You feel angry. You feel outraged. You feel tearful. If that's true for you, it's okay. Again, take a deep breath. Make sure that we're breathing. And again, on that screen, we're going to see that silhouette of your body, or the shape or the color, whatever that is for you. And we're going to pull out the programming of, I hate myself. I'm not good enough. I'm not worthy. And we're going to put it into another bubble, or multiple bubbles. And we're going to clear and just pull and pull. And so for me, it looks like string, but for you, it might look like something else. It might be a scent or a shape or a color or a feeling. You may not see anything, but you may sense that this is what's happening. And we're not sending it away with any hatred or any pity or any anger towards it. It's just compassion. That's what we knew growing up. That's what we watched the adults in our lives. That's what we saw on TV. That's what we absorbed from the collective. And it was all for our learning. We didn't do anything wrong. It all brought us to here. to be able to release it. If you're having resistance in this, just keep breathing. You don't need to do anything special. Just being in this container, you're open to the work. So when you feel like you're complete, pulling all of that programming out, we're going to put that all in a bubble or multiple bubbles and send them up to the edge of the universe and allow them to be transmuted by spirit, by source, into love. And again, we're going to fill a nice big sun above our heads. Fill it in with compassion. And again, whatever you feel called to do, and you may see this as color or scent or shape, or again, whatever comes up for you is perfect. But I see a lot of compassion in that sun. Love. Understanding. And we're going to just allow that sun to pop when you feel like it's complete, and pour into your head, filling in all the crevices and all the nooks and crannies where this program has been. We're going to allow that to go down our neck, down our shoulders, down our arms, out our fingers, down our body, through our thighs, knees, calves, feet, out our toes, swirling around our aura. Remembering to breathe, taking a nice big deep drink of water if you need it. And now we're going to look at the planet on that screen around above in front of you, or however you see it. We're going to look at the planet and just notice what you see when you look at the United States. Whatever you see is right. It's perfect for you. What I see is black, and what that tells me is that the systems are burning down. The systems that have been oppressing people for 400 years in this country are completely disintegrating. I've been telling many of my clients and my colleagues, COVID was just the beginning. We did not know it at that time, but I see it so clearly now. COVID was just the beginning, and it was warning shots. The systems are falling apart. And honor the feelings that you have that come up with that. It may be uncertainty. It may be fear. It may be grief. It may be excitement. It may be guilt for benefiting in some way from these systems falling apart. It may be shame for having contributed in some way to both the systems living and the systems dying. But know that we are not the only creators of these systems falling apart. This has been a long time in the coming. Whew. Keep breathing. I'm going to take a drink of water. And visualize what it looks like if you see something similar to me, fires and soot and smoke. What does it look like when all of that clears? I see rains coming. And I see the earth flourishing, brighter. I see a brighter green and brighter pink flowers and just an incredible, lush, healed planet where the waters are brighter blue. So let's help her. We're already connected to her through the roots down through our feet. On all of our screens, or however we do this best, let's visualize pulling all of the pain, all of the systems that are no longer working, all of the soot, all of the ash, all of the clouds that were heavy before with pain and grief and oppression. Let's put them into bubbles and send them up to the edge of the universe. We're thanking actually the oppression. Thank you for teaching us what we do not desire. Thank you for the grief. Thank you for really pushing us out of our comfort zone and making us stand up in a much brighter way, in a much more empowered way. Thank you for the tears, for cleansing this planet, for feeding the soil. And really moving whatever energy is ready to go into those bubbles and sending them off to the edge of the universe. Allowing the lessons that have been learned to be released, and understanding that if there are still lessons here, we're not just taking them away. We're helping to make them easier and lighter for people to learn. And we can fill up the sun with compassion and understanding and unconditional love. There are no conditions for this love. You do not need to think a certain way. People do not need to believe a certain way. People do not need to love a certain way or work a certain way or show up a certain way. And we fill up the sun with whatever we feel called to fill it up. We fill it up with the earth's energy, Mother Gaia, the goddess. We fill her up with love and devotion and respect for her. for all of the people who inhabit this planet to be instilled with love and peace and respect and compassion and unconditional love. Oh, and we will allow the sun to just pour all of that energy into the earth, into all of her inhabitants. All of the inhabitants who are ready, all of the inhabitants who are open to receive, respecting that each of us are on our own individual journeys, that we may not understand someone else's journey, and that is okay. It may not be for us to understand. All we know is that we are here to love and to heal and to do this work on behalf of the collective, on behalf of Mother Gaia, on behalf of the Gaia goddess, on behalf of Source, Spirit, God, Source Energy, Universe, whatever is the most comfortable term for you in your vernacular. We are only a conduit. And we appreciate the way to be able to be a conduit for that unconditional love, for that compassion for all people. We're going to pull out the judgment that we have in ourselves. The judgment that other people are doing this wrong in some way. We do not know their journey. So whatever is ready to go from that, it may not be all of it, and that is okay, but we are going to release as much as is comfortable right now, as much as we can, as much as is ready to go. And pulling all of that out. Again, that is all in the brain. It is all in the mental body as far as I see it. It comes from family, it comes from society, it comes from TV, it comes from the collective, it comes from the news source. We cannot begin to imagine what other people's souls are doing. In God's eyes and Goddess eyes, in Source's eyes, everyone is perfect. Everyone is doing exactly what they're here to do on some level, and we may not understand it. And that can be really difficult, and that can bring up a lot of emotion. So allow that emotion and feel it. Move through it. We'll put all of that judgment, whatever emotion is ready to go, into a bubble and send it up to the edge of the universe. When you're ready to be transmuted into love, unconditional love. We will fill up another sun above our heads with compassion, compassion for self, compassion for others, unconditional love. And we will, and whatever else you feel called to do. And we will pop that sun when you're ready and just allow that again, that energy just flow through your head, flow through your neck, your shoulders, your arms, your hands, your body, your stomach, your thighs, your knees, your calves, your feet, and out your toes, and swirling around all of your aura. And just sit in that for a moment, remembering to breathe. Next, we're going to visualize the world that we desire. What does that world look like for you? For me, it is watching my Black and brown, indigenous, and people of color, friends, colleagues, family members, Facebook acquaintances, people in the public, their businesses flourishing. It is seeing them walking down the streets feeling safe, allowing them to embody safety and security and abundance, feeling freedom. That so many of them have never really, truly felt in this country. It is allowing them to feel safe at night, to walk on the streets. It is them feeling jovial and happy. It is us standing hand in hand. Friends laughing. Instead of telling each other, stay safe, it is, I will see you tomorrow. It is them feeling respected and acknowledged. I see the police forces, the military. I see people in power feeling empowered in a way from spirit, through their heart space, loving, being compassionate, understanding, educating, being educated, yearning for more knowledge and compassion. It is them loving their community and being a pillar of strength and safety and peace in every community, not just the United States, but especially the United States in this moment, but for the entire world. I see health, vibrant, for all people, no matter the race, creed, color, ethnicity. I see them feeling uplifted and encouraged by the news. I see them feeling loved and respected by their neighbors and their friends. I see people who before felt lonely, feeling enveloped in community. And seen and heard and safe and free. That is what I see. The most powerful tool that we have is to visualize what we desire. And this is where we need to be aware of our boundaries with the news source, with other people, with the people in our lives, with our social media accounts. Because when we see the death and the destruction and the fear mentality over and over and over, it gets into our psyche. And we need to intentionally visualize and see what we desire on this planet in our lives for our brothers and sisters of all ethnicities. So if you have a difficult time doing that on your own, I invite you to continue to come back to this recording. I invite you to play with your own vision and practice. I see this country as wealthy. I see this world as wealthy. I see our friends and family and colleagues and members of community stepping into their divinity, stepping into their power through source, through spirit, not just our police officers, not just our military force, not just our politicians and our heads of state. But I see everyone stepping into their own empowered space, which really lives in the solar plexus, which is right where your rib cage splits. When we're in alignment with that, we are acting from spirit, we are acting from source, we are acting in love, and really moving from a heart-centered space as well. I invite you to do that in your own space, to really envision your solar plexus in alignment when you feel that you are knocked off balance, when you're outside of this specific container, when you're outside of this meditation, this healing, this recording. Breathing into our solar plexus, breathing into our heart space. I often breathe into my heart space when I meditate, because for me, that is the most centering and the most grounding into my own spirit. I really want to honor you for coming, for showing up. I want to thank our divine teams, our guides, our angels, the divine archangels, the divine temples, source, spirit, God, goddess, creator of all that is. Thank you for allowing us to be channels, to be vessels. Thank you for allowing us to do this work on the behalf of ourselves as well as the collective. Because whenever we do this work, whenever we listen to this, whenever we step into this space, we are not only affecting ourselves, but we are affecting everyone that we touch, our family members, the makers of the software programs that we are using, our community. Add to the ripple effect, which is the entire collective. Whenever we do something positive, whenever we do something loving, we are helping everyone and all souls who are not physically in bodies. We are expanding, we are growing. And love is so much more powerful than hate or fear. It takes exponentially a smaller amount of love to make a difference in this world. If you're thinking, but there is so much hate, there is so much fear, it takes exponentially so much less love. So that is our duty, to just show up in love in whatever capacity that we can. That is our challenge. That is our, I don't like the word obligation, but that came up, but that is it's our option. It's our option to live in love, to show up in love in whatever way, shape, or form that we can. With that, I'm feeling complete. I want to thank everybody for coming. I'm going to keep the recording on. And if you feel compelled to share, I would love to hear. I will unmute whoever's on the iPhone because I don't see your name. I know I muted you. Or I guess I can ask to unmute you. And yeah, so if you want to share, I'd love to hear what you saw, what you felt, what this was like for you. Or you can put it in the chat box if you're not comfortable speaking.
Phrase mother's milk kept coming up for me.
Mother's milk? Wow.
Especially when I was like looking at the United States. Because I was thinking like, we need a balm. And that's when it kind of popped into my brain.
Yeah, a balm, a healing salve, right? Yeah. Thank you. Anyone else?
And going into that and looking over everything and feeling everybody's connection and seeing it right in front of me on the screen. It brought me back to my family that's been fighting slavery for so long. It brought me back to one of my ancestors who was is an abolitionist and fought the slavery out in Puerto Rico. Back in he was born in 1819. So hearing the stories and seeing how far that we've been doing this and everything. And I'm like, okay. And it's funny because for me, the stories are not told because you want our children to grow and everything. You teach them not to be blinded by it, but you teach them not to see color. You teach them how not to do any of this. And now they're all of a sudden becoming an adult and they're seeing this like right in their faces, and it's confusing, it's angry, and it's like, you need to stop because we've been doing this for so long. We've been teaching you to have not to do this. I said the fact that you're going through these emotions, it's expected, but I guess we've been trying to shield them from it all.
Yeah.
By teaching them how not to do this. So they don't see color. They don't see that racial hatred and feeling that they're going through. So it's kind of one of those pieces where it's like Jody said, we need a healing solve. We need to start this, and our kids need to do it as well. And sometimes I wonder if we unjustly taught our kids not to see it either by blinding it, by not telling them the stories, by only seeing it on one side. Raising our children to not be blind to the color. But I think for me, I felt like maybe I should have done more to teach them about what other people saw in that color and things like that. So this way, at least now it's not just a blinder, or it's a shock that it's happening.
Yeah.
And I think that's part of a lot of the questions today. So while we were doing this, I got a message from my doctor over at Community Health Center. Not Community Health Center, Colchester Family Practice. So wow. I think they were feeling you, Celeste. They were feeling.
So I paused the recording because I thought you were going to talk about something health related to yourself. But what you said was that the Community Health Center took a knee, which is really powerful. So thank you so much for sharing that. I'm sorry.
They took solidarity too. They felt the calling to heal.
Yeah. And some of us have talked about this a lot this week, where today is the full moon and it's the lunar eclipse, and there's like 9 planets going into retrograde. This is a very auspicious time to be doing this type of work, and it's very, very powerful. So thank you so much for coming on. And also what came up for me when you were speaking, Gina, was you can release some of the guilt from the parenting the way that you did with your children, right? Like there is, everything is okay. They chose you for a reason. They chose these lessons for a reason. And what's also coming up is that we are literally healing ancestral wounds right now.
Mhm.
And
That's
that is part of what's going on.
Yep. So it's like, I think everybody needs to just go off and understand that we are one. And when we stop putting it into a simple little box.
Well, we're not one because we're not one soul, but we
No,
are
we're one in
connected.
solidarity. I mean, you know,
Right.
it's
We
one
are,
acceptance. Everybody is should be accepted as they are, not one soul or anything like that. But
yeah.
we're one as far as we need to forgive. We are human. We need to be able to understand everybody from who they are, not what they look like.
Right. So I just wanted to read the comments. So Heather was on and she said she had to drop. Thank you so much. And Rhonda said, thank you, Celeste, and everyone. Very healing and very powerful. I thank you guys so much for showing up and coming on and participating in this in whatever way you did, which was whether it was live or whether it's on the replay or just registering and sending energy towards it in whatever way that is. It is so powerful, and we are really, really just blessed. I'm just so blessed to be able to have done this. Thank you so much for showing up and contributing, because one person can't make the change. It's when all of us stand together that it's exponentially increased. So thank you so much. I love you guys so much.